Hi YouTube, my name is Jack. It is late at night, or at least it's late at night by my standards. I've just finished cleaning up after my midsummer ritual, and I just wanted to sit down in front of a camera and, I guess, complain, if we're being honest. Specifically, I wanted to talk about the challenges of working as a Gardnerian initiate and really predominantly working Gardnerian rituals by myself and without a coven around. So for anyone who is new here, who doesn't know who I am, hi, my name is Jack Chanek. I am a Gardnerian High Priest. I moved to Utah about a year and a half ago at this point, and I am the only Gardnerian initiate in the state of Utah, which means that I don't belong to a coven here. Right? I moved here from the East Coast, where I had belonged to a coven in New Jersey, and that was great, that was phenomenal, but it was time for me to leave New Jersey, and I ended up in Utah. Really love it here, really happy to have moved here, but there is no existing coven here. There are no initiates here. And so I have been working on kind of building a religious community from the ground up since I've been here. I have interacted a little bit with the broader Pagan community here in Salt Lake City. There are a surprising number of Pagans here. There just aren't Wiccans, let alone Gardnerians. So you have a lot of Norse heathens. You have a fair number of non-Wiccan witches doing various sort of vaguely Robert Cochrane sorts of things. There's no Wicca here. There seems to have been a Fraudnerian coven here in the 1990s that blew up in people's faces, as those situations tend to do. And I don't know a whole lot else about that situation because people don't really talk about it. But it has created a general feeling of unease or distrust around Wicca and around initiatory Wicca in particular, which is, totally understandable. But for me, right, I am a Gardnerian Wiccan. That's what I like to do. That's what I like to practice. It's what I want to be doing. And I want to belong to a coven. So I've been out here by myself working on bootstrapping a coven. I have a seekers group going. I currently have a handful of really great seekers, love them all. And it's been going really well. But training people prior to initiation takes time. That is inevitably a time-consuming process. Excuse me, the cat wants me to throw her bumblebee. There we go, sweetie. That is inevitably a time-consuming process. And in the meantime, I'm on my own for initiatory purposes, right? I do non-Wiccan rituals for the Sabbats with the Seekers group. So we will do a midsummer ritual coming up soon. We do 8 rituals a year, and those are all wonderful rituals, but they're not Wiccan, and certainly they're not Gardnerian. And the purpose of those is really much more instructional. The purpose of those rituals is to get people used to how to perform ritual, how to write ritual, how to sense and move energy within a ritual, all outside of a Wiccan context, so that when they set foot in a Wiccan ritual for the first time, even though they've never done anything Wiccan, they have enough understanding of how ritual works in general that they can sort of orient themselves and know what's going on. But for me, for my purposes, as someone who really likes Gardnerian ritual and really wants to be doing Gardnerian ritual, I'm doing that all by myself. And I've been circling solitary since I moved here. I've been doing, at first I didn't have all my stuff with me, so I was doing a very stripped down version of sort of earthy, dirty, crunchy witchcraft. And then once I got all of my ritual paraphernalia, I started doing something more like a normal Gardnerian ritual on the month-to-month basis. And it's been good, don't get me wrong. It's been really, really good. The ritual that I just finished tonight was wonderful. It filled my cup. It left me feeling refreshed. It left me feeling rejuvenated. It reminded me why I do all of this. And that's all true. And at the same time, doing ritual solitary is hard. It's really, really hard. Part of that is logistical, right? You have to be responsible for everything. All of the moving parts in ritual you have to do, and you can't break that down. You can't distribute that labor to other people in a way that lightens the load for everyone. But part of it is just that Gardnerian ritual, traditional Wiccan ritual in general, right, is designed with a coven in mind. It is designed to be done by a group of people together. And you can adapt that for solitary practice. I have been doing that. But it is an adaptation. It is noticeably an adaptation. And there is something of the experience of doing ritual with other people that kind of gets lost when you try to adapt it for just one. Now, to be clear here, I'm not talking about other kinds of magical or religious practice, right? If you're a solitary practitioner and that's your jam, I'm not trying to say that that's lesser in any way. What I'm saying is that if you want to do Gardnerian ritual is harder to do solitary than it is to do with a group, because that kind of ritual was written with a group in mind. And then relatedly, part of why I was in a coven, part of why I joined a tradition that is coven-based, was for the people, was for the connection to other people, the sense of a tight-knit community with a group of practitioners that I saw at least once a month to worship the gods and do magic with. And I miss that human connection, right? I miss sitting in ritual with other people and having sacred bullshit time and talking about the craft or about magic, doing magic together, whatever the case may be. The solitary rituals that I do now are good and they're really fulfilling, and I'm so glad that I'm doing them. But boy, am I eager to be able to do ritual with other people again, because it's really not the same. And that then sort of filters into how I think about training the people who are in the Seekers group, because I want to be really cautious and make sure that I'm training them in a way that is beneficial for them, that is beneficial for any future coven that might emerge, and that I'm not rushing them. Because the worry is, if I'm so eager to have a coven again, if I'm so eager to have people to practice with, there is a danger that I may kind of rush people through training, bring them in, initiate them before they're really ready for that, or without having fully sort of made clear to them what that kind of commitment entails. And that's not good for anyone further down the line, right? That results in people deciding to leave because they came into something that they didn't really understand what they were getting into, or, whatever. It's a thing to avoid. And I like to think that I'm being conscious of that and that I'm on top of that as I'm doing training in the Seekers group. But, this is one of the perpetual challenges just of bootstrapping. I don't have a working partner to check myself against. I don't have someone to check in with and be like, hey, based on what you've been seeing in the Seekers group, how do you think that such and such thing is going? So there's a lot of just having to second guess myself and really check in and be radically honest with myself, simply because I don't have anyone else around to do it for me. But, it's just a thing that I'm trying to pay attention to, because I see in myself how badly I want to have a coven again, how badly I want to be with a group of initiates who can do initiatory ritual together on a regular basis. And when you want something that badly, I think it's important to take note of the ways that wanting that affects your behavior. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of all I have. Just missing coven practice. The solitary practice is great. The magic is still there. The gods are still there. It's all still good. but I really miss Coven practice. So that's all I got for tonight. I'm going to go to bed because it's late. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and buy my book. Pre-order my book. Tarot for the Magically Inclined. It comes out in July in just a couple of weeks. I will stick a link down below. I should really be better about promoting that shit. Buy my book. All right. Good night.